You're listening to Heart to Harts with Erika M, where midlife isn't a crisis, it's a calling. Unfiltered, unapologetic, and oh so real. Let's talk about it, shall we? Now here's your host, Erika M.
Welcome back. This is Erika M, and you are here at Heart to Harts with my podcast. This is episode 13, if I'm not mistaken, and or 12. I don't really know, but I'm so peeved right now watching the news and seeing what's going on. I decided to make a short on this. I don't think it's going to be very long, so sit back. If you haven't already grabbed your tea, your coffee, your cognac, I think we're going to need a stiff drink for this conversation. And the truth of the matter is, the following episode that I'm about to reveal to you, or how I'm going to express it, may not be of the liking of a lot of people, but I'm going to be honest and real just because I said that's what I would do from the start. And I have something to say. So here's my disclaimer. And the following episode contains personal opinions, reported allegations, and strong language. Some of the events I speak on are based on verified reports. Others are still developing or under legal review. This is not legal advice, and I'm not a journalist or your best friend. I'm here to speak the truth. I'm a woman with a microphone and a mouthful of truth. Take what resonates, check the facts. Please do use ChatGPT and protest your own neck, if you will. But I am here to speak the truth as I see it from this point of view, from someone who had immigrant parents and who also came here legally, and who I was born here, and the racism I felt, just even chiming in on some of the threads I see on Instagram or TikTok, the fire back I get for even just looking like Latina, or I guess from the Mideast, which I'm both, by the way. No, I'm not from Palestine. No, I'm not Israeli, but it doesn't matter. The point I'm making is the way I've been treated by the right, as well as mostly the left. It's kind of been they didn't know whether I was on the Trump side or if and so everyone's guilty, in my opinion, to some degree, but nothing has experienced more hypocrisy, in my opinion, than the Democratic, blue, leftist, progressive sides that are probably the loudest, rudest hypocrites I've ever encountered. It starts with Alexandra, whatever, AOC, whatever. I can never say her damn name. To everyone else that's sort of, oh, there's no justice in doing this. No, I don't agree. So let me ask you something. Why are we deporting working families? Yes, I'm asking that to Trump because I don't understand how this went from deporting the illegal immigrants to just now invading small neighborhoods. While violent extremists walk the streets free, we're doing this to our civilians who, work for a living, who come to actual work, not the criminals that we were discussing. So why are we deporting these working families? Why is ICE tearing down doors of mothers and laborers, yet no headlines scream about a man who hurled 14 Molotov cocktails from Egypt, who's here on a tourist visa with his 5 kids and wife, who remains here and remained here. He is now in custody, and I don't know the follow through yet. But regardless, I'm here to say why. Why isn't that a headline screaming? And why is it already forgotten? I mean, he disfigured and burned them for life, proudly standing there in Los Angeles, in America right now. This is a disgrace. I'm almost saddened to say I'm an American by the way that people are treating each other. You know, that Palestine supporting extremist carrying dozens of those homemade bombs, he lit up the streets like it was a war zone. 3 people burned alive in front of others. Did you hear me? 3 people burned alive in front of others. Permanent injuries, trauma, disfigurement, and guess what? Rickets. Where's the media? No protests. Where's the people? Where's the outrage? Where is that? And no crickets, of course. We're going to stand up and say something when they've never done it, except behind masks that they can't see their faces, screaming, protesting, acting like they're so peaceful, but they're not. And you see it and hear it, and they're such hypocrites. I want to punch them all in the damn face. I'm sorry if I'm heated, but I'm not sorry. I'm over the hypocrisy. There are no marches for them. Those people are forgotten already. Has anyone mentioned them? No, we're just focusing on the one clip that the media runs to go ahead and talk shit about Trump and his decisions based on what? Who let these people in that were illegally documented? For how long? So why are we so shocked? Because we have 6 degrees of what? Separation? Yeah, me too. But that doesn't make it right. And let me tell you something. When I moved to Costa Rica, where I am partly from, for the 2 years and almost 2.5 years that I did, I had to leave every 3 months, and so did all the other expatriates until I finally got, my citizenship and all my papers in order. But I did the right thing. And I couldn't just stay there and come back as I wanted and take from that country or the people and the people who pay taxes just because I decided to. That's not how it works, people. I don't give a shit how you paint it. Facts are facts, whether you like Trump or not. Biden did this. He started it. So did Obama. But Obama was the one who deported the most of all presidents. Mass deportations. I believe the number's 3 million. Have we forgotten? I don't know, Dems, libs, progressives. Where's your head in the sand or up your ass? I'd like to know. But if that man had been waving an American flag instead of shouting Free Palestine, what do you think would have happened to him? National outrage. 24-hour CNN coverage calls for insurrection charges. But because the violence was politically inconvenient for the left, they buried it. So here we are, speaking raw, real, and authentically true, at least from my point of view and from some actual facts, people. So here we are again, living in a country where hardworking immigrants are deported like cattle, which I disagree to. I think they should have a level of respect and ability to stay here because they've worked here, and that these things should be discerned. That's my point of view. But yes, clean up the trash, the criminals, the gangs that have come from El Salvador and wherever else they've come from. And I don't want to say countries because I feel like I just did, but I think that people need to get a grip on what they think is their rights here. And I don't really care how people feel about it. And though they feel that way about it, I've got a ton of feelings about things about them as well. Because I've worked and lived here my whole life. No one's given me handouts. And when I had to ask for help, like unemployment or disability recently because I had no choice, I went through the ringer to get it. It was red tape after red tape, approval, and then months without nothing to finally get them. And at the end, I didn't win. I didn't get what I was deserving. In fact, I got leased, and I missed all that time to receive what I had. Thank God I had a backup plan. But like, if I was not from this country and I came in and said, I am this, I am that, I would have gotten up to $30,000 even, I've heard and seen and witnessed and read, for a new home. What do I got to do to just get my unemployment I've paid into my whole life? So the injustices are real. So where there's a Molotov wielding radical man who maims the innocent people in the name of a cause and barely trend for a day is already forgotten, what does that say about the people crying now that are with their Mexican banners and or flags? And God bless them. I have no problems with that. But don't come to me with your sob stories later. Oh, and let's not applaud Gavin Newsom, please, because we all know about his history and the fact that they've tried to remove him from his own office and allegedly so many things. But let me just keep going. Yes, let's applaud the man, of course, Newsom, who took millions in federal aid while his businesses stayed open during lockdowns, hosted elitist dinner parties at the French Laundry while your grandma died alone, and now pretends to be the immigrant messiah when the heat is on. Oh, I'm sorry. Spare me the PR campaign, new scum. And Karen Bass, who I detest on a guttural level because of her fake smile and the bull that she actually represents. I can't even look at her, guys. I cannot stomach her. And I dread the day I ever get in a room with her because I'm going to speak to her in her face the way that I'm speaking on this podcast right now. Mayor of handouts and hush money, hush hires. She gave her friend Janice Davis a double salary sweetheart deal at the Department of Water and Power. You know, that DWP that failed to miserably help everyone whose houses burned, while the rest of you were being told to boil your water and shut off your AC during blackouts. Yeah, and let's not forget those cozy USC payments. She received over $100,000 worth of gifts, quote unquote, while young Black and Latino students that are protesting right now are drowning in tuition debt. And let me not get started, but I will mention how she's about to close half of the dog shelters for funding and cut half the staff. This is not alleged. These are actual reports that this is what she's planning to do. Where are the protests? Do people know what's going on with our animals? And I'm a huge dog advocate. So Karen, no, I am not okay with it. And I want you to resign because you're inadequate and the worst leader and you're a crook, just like Newsom. So yeah, don't get me started with all this illegal, radical terrorists on the streets here that are actually down the street from me. Yeah, they really are. So if you're illegal and you're voting blue, welcome. If you're illegal but working quietly and raise your family, ICE is knocking. If you're a violent radical who tortures civilians, somehow you're misunderstood. But God forbid, you're trying to just stay here and survive because this government will throw you out faster than they'll condemn terrorism on American soil. So here's what I say. You can't call it justice if it's only enforced on the poor. You cannot call it human rights if you ignore the ones who were burned alive. You cannot call yourself progressive while you protect predators and deport providers. We see the game, we hear the silence, and some of us aren't scared to say the damn truth. Okay, we're not. And by the way, I'm a moderate conservative. I am not here to change your mind. I'm here to expose the truth as it is, as at least how I see it. And the fact of the matter is everyone's living like there's some, I don't know, messiah on a mission. For whom? For what? People need to start looking around themselves and start to actually take accountability for the way things actually are and have been. If you're here illegally, you're here illegally. Go through the process of trying to be here legally, like my parents did, like so many others have in my family and other people I know. And I have worked since I was 11 years old. 11, you guys. I used to sell flowers, roses, the end of a freeway, thanks to the ridiculousness of my mother allowing that to happen because I was a really pretty girl and I could have been thrown in a van and never seen again. But you know what? That's what I did because I'm a hustler and that's what this country has given me, the opportunity. And that's why I understand that people want to come here. But let's not disrespect the country that I love so much. Even if our leader, Trump, who I respect finally, somewhat, not for his moral codes, even though he tries to push them down our throats most of the time, but mostly because his policy makes sense. And I want to take back America because if not, I'm telling you, you guys, China and Chinese writing and conversations are going to be had less than 10 years from now because they will own us. They already do. So I'm sorry, I'll leave you with this. If you think that's it, it's not. Let me just go further. I got to calm down. I get very heated. Literally, I get so, and it isn't because I'm angry. I'm passionate about this. I am as passionate about people's rights as I am about my dogs and the cats and the poor horses and the animals that are suffering without cause, without anyone looking away. And that goes for the red and the blue. Okay, if you eat chicken, you eat turkey, you eat red meat, it's all encompassing the fact that there's some seriously really effed up things going on to our animals. But let's start with the domesticated ones, our dogs and what's going on there. Do you know that the Yulin Dog Meat Festival is going on in China right now? Yeah, it's not here, it's not local, but it affects us all because that is an extension of the world and we allow that. And then we allow the people that are here in our own street, our own down the block neighbor who abuses his dog and people just walk over it, walk by, don't say anything. Well, we're not doing that anymore. We're going to face the facts here. And on that, let me get into this one. The Columbia University protester of Mahmoud Khalil. Remember that guy? Where is he? Yeah, okay. And the separate case of Mohammed Sabri Solomon, the man that is behind the Molotov cocktail attack. It's just, I have to kind of get myself into a place where I have to zen out when I talk about this because it just boils my blood. Who is Mahmoud Khalil? A Palestinian U.S. green card holder and former Columbia graduate student, rose to prominence during the 2024 pro-Palestinian encampments and sit-ins at Columbia University. He served as the spokesperson and negotiator for demonstrators calling for divestment, and a Gaza ceasefire. Now, I'm sorry, let me just break this down to you. First of all, you're here on a tourist visa, a green card, pretty much. Not a tourist visa, excuse me. And you're asking for things? You have no right to ask for anything. And if you want to, why don't you go back to your country and ask for it there? So anyone who disagrees with that, I don't care. You can leave as well. And why don't you guys take off your little Hamas masks? What are you afraid of, you cowards? Not only, and moreover, but like seriously, and not only is it just cowardice, it's like, again, hypocritical, but it's so telling, isn't it? Like who really has the balls and who doesn't. Arrested on March 8th, 2025 at his university, Mr. Khalil, not even Mr., whatever his name is, Mahmoud. ICE revoked his green card, citing foreign policy concerns under an obscure statute. His arrest sparked, of course, national debate, and of course it was covered, and he got all the eyes on him. Now, critics argued if it was a punitive action against him of free speech, supporters, including the ACLU and, of course, a New York State Attorney General described it as an unconstitutional overreach. You know what? All these blue states can kiss my ass. Seriously. Nearly 100 supporters led by Jewish Voice for Peace gathered and staged sit-ins at Trump Tower in mid-March protesting in solidarity. And of course, the judge behind all this halts deportation for now. A federal judge intervened, ruling in June that the government cannot detain or deport him based on alleged foreign policy threats, freeing him temporarily pending appeal. That just outrages me. Bottom line, for your own sanity, know that your neighbor still lives here. Yes, Mahmoud Khalil is still in the U.S., but his status has changed significantly thanks to a recent court ruling. A federal judge in New Jersey, Judge Michael Fabriars, has blocked the Trump administration from detaining or deporting Khalil under an obscure immigration provision tied to foreign policy interests. The judge found that the government's cases didn't meet constitutional standards and, importantly, halted his removal until at least Friday, giving the administration time to appeal. What a joke. Now, fast forward, here's where things stand as of today, June 12, 2025. Study in custody but cannot be removed under the specific law used, foreign policy clause. The judge's order is temporarily stayed until the government decides whether to challenge it. Khalil remains detained in a Louisiana immigration facility, which only makes me smile. A civil injunction has blocked forced deportation through Friday morning, giving his legal team some breathing room, but no final decision yet. The administration may appeal it and pursue other grounds, like alleged inaccuracies in his green card application. So, yes, he's still here, but under court protection for now. A federal judge blocked the deportation based on foreign policy claims, though ICE might still try to find another route, and I hope they do, because that man should never step foot or ever be allowed to breathe American air again. You know, I want to say this for the record. While people have painted Mahmoud Khalil as a martyr of some sort of innocent peace sign-holding activist, that's fucking bullshit. That's exactly the kind of narrative spin that I'm pushing back against. And who does that? The mask wearers, the other Palestinians here that are on visas and school visas or whatever we call those. I don't know because I don't need them. I'm not into the immigration laws, but you know what I'm talking about. So here are the hard facts again. He wasn't just protesting. He was leading, organizing, and negotiating for the Columbia encampments for shutdown of major American campuses. For weeks, guys. He was detained by ICE for a reason, not because of a tweet, but because he allegedly posed a foreign policy threat under a section of immigration law. How do we just color that pretty? Designed for individuals seen as national security concerns, the Department of Homeland Security claimed his actions were coordinated in a way that undermined U.S. interests abroad, specifically in relation to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Now, while he hasn't been charged with a violent crime, DHS's use of INA 212.3c, which blocks individuals tied to foreign policy risks, implies something more serious than peaceful protest. I'm all jumbled right now, so forgive me. And the judge only blocked his deportation on that narrow legal basis, stating that the law was unconstitutional as written, not that Khalil is innocent or harmless. So let's get that straight. Even though the media will spin it in one way or another to make him look so harmless. So there. So if you're not clear, I'm going to be clear. I'm not calling Mahmoud Khalil some peaceful college kid. I don't buy the narrative that he's just a harmless student who's lit a candle and sang kumbaya. No, thank you, and bullshit. The guy was leading protests that paralyzed Colombia. ICE didn't pull him in for being too gentle. They pulled him in because his actions were seen as a foreign policy threat to the United States. That's serious, guys. I'm sorry, but if you're screaming free Palestine with everything but your eyes showing in black with your flags, then go back to Palestine. Please. I don't like you or want you here. And for the record, my experience with the ever so male Palestinian was horrific. A man who actually was named Mohammed, a doctor, a neurosurgeon I dated. And boy, was that the hugest mistake. Thank God it was short-lived before I woke up. But then I had revisited once more a year before after that breakup. And let me tell you something. I had the deepest, darkest feeling when I was around that man that he was going to hurt me. And when I got back with him for that one time, I realized how serious that really was and looked. So I left. I left his house in the morning running. So I know firsthand what these men are taught and their thought processes are about women. So no, I don't stand behind Mr. Khalil, the hypocrite of all hypocrites, using our country as a platform for his bullshit rights. He has no rights here. It frustrates me because people like Khalil are being protected by legal loopholes, judges and activist lawyers who have hard-ons, right? Because they want to be politically correct and be known and seen, maybe. Who knows why? While hardworking immigrants who never organized a single protest until now are being deported and torn from their families in Boyle Heights and Harlem and Houston. Make it make sense, people. Where are those dog rapists as well? Now that I'm on the topic as well about criminals who just walk free among us, who rape dogs on a daily, the homeless people who don't have homes because Karen Bass is funding, who we cannot still track and even legitify because she hasn't been able to. $2.3 billion. Now, don't correct. I have to actually look on that one. I think it's 3 million or billion. I'm not sure, but let me check on that really quick. You guys, I made a huge mistake on that one. It isn't $2.3 million that lovely Karen Bass struggles to legitify as to where that money is. She received $2.3 billion in homelessness spending. It's the city could not verify how this enormous sum of money was used to shelter, feed, or supposedly support unhoused residents. So yeah, it wasn't the 2.3 million, it's 2.3 billion in unaccountable funds. Your money, my money, our money. Yet nobody's screaming or throwing Molotov cocktails at her. Not that I say they should, God forbid. I'm just saying nobody should be doing that, period. But they're acting like it's pocket change. I don't know where millions went, but no, Karen Bass, you and your LA Homeless Services Authority lost track of $2.3 billion. That's the real number, not a rounding error. So like I said, billion with a B. Funds were unaccounted for, no receipts, no results, just big, fat lies and excuses. And she's out here pretending she doesn't know what happened to it. It just disappeared. I can't track it. $2.3 billion, Karen? Really? Karen Bass, mayor of Los Angeles, the one that's in flames and being completely dismantled thanks to you and Gavin Newsom? What a pack of, oh my God, just throw in Alexandra. I can never say her damn name, Ocasio or whatever. I can't stand her as well. I think she's cancer. I can't stand her mouth. I can't stand the way she looks. I think all these Democrats should be gone. All of them. And I think the worst part of it is really having to read up on the fraud that she's already accused of, but then she hires her friend Janice at the DWP after the fires and everything that went down, doubling her damn salary while thousands of people are literally sleeping on human shit on Skid Row. Now switching gears a little bit because I'm all over the place, guys. And like I said earlier in my podcast, in the first few, if you hadn't gone that far yet, or if you haven't had a chance to, please go back. I am letting you know I am not a journalist. This is my point of view. This is my voice. This is my platform. And I will say whatever I feel like in the legalist way that I possibly can. And this is sharing those opinions. You can have yours as well. Please leave them in the comments. I really don't care if it's good or bad. At this point, just get involved and at least try to see both sides here as I am trying to do. And you know what I'm getting for it? I'm getting, told I'm this and that. And of course, bullied online because I have an opinion that's not in accordance to everyone else's. And that is that, no, it isn't right. If you're not clear by now, it isn't right what's going on to the illegal immigrants that are hardworking families and that have lived here with students, that go to school here and that help and that do their part, that try to, and because they have no means to, can't legally go through the process. So we should have come up with some plan to process them in a different manner. We need to discern between the criminal acts of illegals and the ones that are working, because they're not all bad. The ones that are bad are the Molotovs and the Mahmoud Khalils and the Karen Basses and the Newsoms of this entire BS escapade gaslighting event that everyone's like, I don't know, they drank the Kool-Aid and they believe them. Where's the discernment, people? So let's talk about Mohammed, Sabri Solomon, the Colorado-based Egyptian national who came here. Well, let me just get into it. June 1st, 2025. He shows up to a pro-Israeli event with 18 Molotov cocktails. 18. That he, by the way, learned how to make on YouTube. Why is that legal? Tarot readers can't even show the lover's card because she's naked. It's a cartoon, or they'll get shut down. But then this man can get on YouTube and learn how to make Molotov cocktails. Make it make sense. So he throws 2, injures 16 people. 3 are permanently disfigured, guys. Now, what if that was your mom? And 1 is still in critical condition? Or what if it was your sister or your wife or your best friend? But the media, silent. No nightly coverage, no outcry or outrage, no fundraisers, no candlelight vigils. Why? Because it does not fit the narrative. That's why. Because they're too busy painting Khalil as a victim and ignoring the actual acts of terrorism happening right now here on American soil in front of your faces, under your noses, and nobody's crying about it except the people that are being affected by it, but they're being hushed, pushed aside, and not really looked at like it's a big deal. But God forbid ICE do their job, even if it's not the best job sometimes, and they get all kinds of heat for it. So I'm tired of the biased BS that's existing right now. Wake up, people. California is nowhere in line with what's really real right now, nor is New York or Houston. These things could have been prevented, but let's talk about that for a second. Let me be real. We're deporting the wrong people, okay? We're praising the wrong leaders, and we're staying quiet about the people who burn this country from the inside out. They're burning American flags, which is right there. That should be immediate prison time, in my opinion. Where's the accountability? Where is our real leadership? Where's the fucking justice? I'll tell you where. Buried under bureaucracy, buried under media spin, and buried under 2.3 billion of mismanaged bullshit, Karen and Newsom. And of course, Janice of DWP. So you know what, guys? I'm going to leave you with this because I'm heated. I really am. And I will probably do a part 2 as this escalates and evolves and more comes to fruition. But I just had to get on here and do this short or this episode or whatever we're going to call it and get it out because it's so frustrating to watch. And for whatever, if you don't take anything away, it's just I'm asking you to not just see one side, not to think blue or red, think humanitarian, but also remember there is a crisis. We have a problem, and it's not going to go away by allowing everyone to stay, nor is it going to be better by attacking the ones that are working and that are innocent, by far innocent, other than just innocent to the degree that I can say that they're not bad people. Do I know them personally? No, but they're hardworking and I've worked with them, alongside them. I know them. They may not be my race, they not be my people, but they're human beings and I respect that. Their ethic. And the outrage that people are doing is an injustice to these people, the people that are weaponizing this sort of what they call justice for the people is injustice. They're making it so much worse. So if you want justice, then you better start calling it what it is. Weaponized politics, not protection. Because until we stop sugarcoating what's happening here, we're going to keep losing the country. One quietly coward at a time, one headline at a time. That's all I've got today, guys. For now, I'm going to leave you with this. make sure you use some discernment. Don't watch all the local blue media like NBC and Fox and CNN. Find the indies, go do your research, do your due diligence, and remember something. Not every single person that's illegal is wrong, and not every leader is fit to lead. Don't glorify them now that they're standing on their little podium saying, oh, yes, we disagree with Trump. We're going to sue him. Kiss my ass, Gavin. You benefited from the winery you didn't close when the COVID happened. Your wife did. Let's not pull all that up. But for all who are wondering and curious, you might want to use Chat GPT and ask it, where's all the fraud? And follow it for Karen Bass, for Gavin Newsom, and then make some decisions based on what you read. But make sure you're asking the right questions. This has been Heart to Heart, my heart to yours, even when I'm pissed off and bothered. And if you're still listening, thank you. You're part of the solution. I think that we can all really learn from this and hopefully come together. Thank you for listening. And if you haven't already, subscribe, share, and say what you want to say in the comments. I'm listening. Thanks, guys. Bye. Be careful.
Well, that's a wrap on this episode of Heart to Hearts with Erika M. If today hit a nerve, stirred a truth, or sparked a comeback, make sure to subscribe, share, and come back next Sunday when Erika talks about whatever she wants. Midlife isn't the end. It's where the story gets good and the middle gets rewritten. Your way.